Happy spooky season. This story comes from Spain. It's called The Gold Coins. The story can be heard all over Cordoba in Spain. Over the years, it has been passed from person to person, and according to the legend, once near the center of Cordoba, there was an old house that is said to be haunted. The house is very big and has many rooms, and all of the floors are covered with black tiles. Many years ago, it was owned by an important and wealthy family, and at this time, the family was the husband, wife, and their 8-year-old daughter, and their servants. One night, when their girl was lying in bed, she was unable to sleep, and she heard some noises in the corridor outside her bedroom. Being a very curious child, she slowly opened the door of her bedroom and looked out into the long, dark corridor. At the end of the hallway, she could make out a small figure crouching down. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she was surprised to see a young boy about the same age as herself. He was carrying a candle, and he was lifting up one of the small stone slabs on the floor. She watched as the boy took something from his pocket and dropped it down beneath the tile. After he replaced the tile, the boy suddenly vanished into thin air. The little girl couldn't believe what she was seeing. She looked down the corridor and she noticed one of the maids had been peeking out of her own bedroom door. She had witnessed the same strange scene. The maid grabbed a candle and came hurrying over to join the little girl. They both knew what they had seen. That young boy was a ghost. Together they cautiously approached the place where the boy had been crouching. They lifted the tile and discovered that there was a large hole underneath it. Peering down by the light of the candle, they could see something glittering. The maid held up the tile as she lowered the little girl into the hole. The child could not believe what she had found. It was a pile of gold coins. Shaking with excitement, she gathered up the coins and handed them out to the maid. Then the maid held her hand and pulled her up out of the hole. They replaced the tile, and it fit back perfectly, looking like it had never been moved. The maid could hardly believe her luck, and the child could barely contain her excitement. Both of them decided that they should keep the discovery of the coins a secret. The maid warned the little girl to not mention it to anybody. Not her parents, not the other servants. The next night, at the same time, the girl and the maid peeked out of their bedroom doors, eagerly waiting for the ghostly boy. They watched as the spectral figure made its way down the corridor, lifted a tile, and placed some more gold coins in the hole. After he disappeared, the maid lowered the girl into the hole under the slab so that she could grab more gold coins. Night after night, they repeated the same process. It seemed as if the treasure would never end. Each time, by the light of a candle, the girl got down into the small hole underneath the tile and handed the coins to the maid, who put them inside a big sack. One night, the candle was almost finished, and as the maid lowered the girl into the hole, the light started to flicker. The maid told the little girl to hurry up. She had to get out of the hole before the candle went out because, well, they already had enough money. And she pulled the girl out of the hole, but at the last moment, one of the coins fell from her grip. Without thinking, she jumped back down into the hole again. The maid tried to catch her, but in so doing, she let go of the tile, and it slammed down, covering the hole. and then the candle burned out. The maid began to panic. In the darkness, she tried to make her way down the corridor to her bedroom to fetch another candle. It was pitch black and she couldn't see a thing. She had to feel her way along the wall until she reached her bedroom door. Searching desperately in the dark, she couldn't find any candles. With a lot of difficulty, the maid felt her way down the darkened corridor until she came to the kitchen. She rummaged through the drawers and eventually came across another candle. She lit it and quickly returned to the corridor. But to her horror, the maid realized she couldn't remember which tile the girl was under. In the dim light, she searched and searched, prying at each one, but the corridor was so long and so wide. There were so many tiles, she was unable to find the right one. Finally, giving up and clutching her bag of gold coins, she returned to her bed. In the morning, the parents woke up to find that their daughter had disappeared. They questioned the servants, but each one said they had no idea where the little girl could be. A complete search of the entire grounds was organized, but it turned up nothing. The distraught parents were baffled by their daughter's mysterious disappearance. The maid decided to not say anything about what had happened that night. A few days later, the mother was crying in her bedroom when she heard a voice calling out. She recognized her daughter's voice immediately, and she could tell she was crying out for someone to help her. Please help me. Let me out of here, please. The mother searched the house again, and sometimes the screams seemed to be coming from one part of the house, but as she got close, the screams sounded like they were coming from someplace else. And try as they might, the parents could not find the source of the screams. The father dug up floors, demolished walls, and punched holes in ceilings, all in an effort to figure out where the girl's cries for help were coming from. After almost destroying the interior of the house, the parents were forced to admit defeat. For months they lived in the building, listening to the cries of their beloved daughter, unable to do anything to find her. All of this took its toll on their mental and physical health. Eventually, the mother lost her mind and committed suicide. The father, devastated by grief, moved away, and he died of a heart attack a few years later. The people of Cordoba say that this is a true story, and the house is still standing today. According to the legend, if you go there at night, you can still hear the screams of a little girl pleading for help. The house has become famous all over Spain, and sometimes teenagers visit the place at night to test their courage and see if they can find any gold coins. Others go there to explore the huge building in an attempt to discover where the remains of the little girl are located. As yet, nobody has been brave enough to spend the night there. Now, the house is boarded up, and the neighbors often call the police because of strange screams and other sounds that come from within. They say that when the police arrive to investigate, the only thing they find is an old candle sitting on an old stone tile in the middle of the floor. Oh, so sad. But we learn the lesson. Greed can be a very dangerous thing.